So Adidas just announced, the CEO of Adidas just announced, after getting sued by their shareholders, they're now going to sell the $600 or $700 million worth of Yeezys that they broke the partnership, and they was going to have to basically eat that loss. And they're going to donate a portion to charity, which is basically cap. They might donate 5-10%, but like they need that money because
Right.
they were going to lose millions and I think $1.3 billion, just based off the inventory and the profit that they were going to make because they sell Yeezys literally at a high profit margin because Kanye is the marketing. They don't
Right.
have a marketing budget. So like I know that's like one of your favorite artists or whatever. So about the whole Kanye West Adidas situation, like how did you feel with them breaking the partnership? I mean, obviously he said a lot of things that were out of whack. Um, but I feel like business and this whole cancel culture and everything that we live in, like I think we're gonna get to a point where everybody gonna be like uncancelable. Like you
Yeah.
can't even cancel nobody because you didn't heard everything, seen everything, done
Right.
everything. So like a guy like Kanye West, like you can't really even cancel him. And he knows it, which is bad.
Right. Right.
Like
He's well aware.
he's well aware that he can't be canceled.
Yeah. I mean, that's a tough situation because, like you said, I mean, if we went back in history and undid everything that made sense business wise because of something somebody said,
Right.
there would be nothing in existence, bro.
Nothing, bro.
There'd be nothing left because everybody has done something, whether they got caught or not, or whether it was public or not, is a different story. But
Right.
everybody has said or done something at some point that someone who was significant, right? If we just disregard their invention or their creation or their style or their artistry or their business acumen because they had an opinion of their own and they shared it,
Right.
like nothing would exist. So the decision making when it comes to businesses sustaining being intertwined with somebody sharing their personal feelings is a very fine line. And I understand it's like, oh, Adidas doesn't want to get canceled, right? They don't want to be the corporation who supports Kanye West's views or anybody else's views.
Right.
But do you put that on the line and risk going out of business because the only reason you're relevant today is because of this man,
Yeah.
right? Because if it wasn't for leaning on entertainers like him, I mean, athletes, I feel like aren't floating Adidas. Maybe
I mean,
overseas,
yeah, I was
right?
about to
In
say they got that
soccer, and
overseas
yeah,
soccer, but that
but
those margins are so thin. Their profit, like Kanye was 10% of their revenue, but he was like 40% or 50% of their profit. Because I mean, a company like him, all right. I mean, let's say they doing $20 billion. I don't know what Adidas is doing in terms of revenue, but let's say they doing 20 or $40 billion. Kanye West is 2% of or 10% of their revenue, but he's 50 or 60% of their profit. That's because he's an entertainer, he's an icon. So he is the marketing budget, and they're only paying him a commission. It's not like they're paying him $50 million up front every year. No, they're paying him 15% of the sales of the shoe. So they're basically not paying him. The customers are paying him.
right,
So they have the sweetest deal ever. Kanye got the sweetest deal ever. So it's like a win-win. But like you said, bro, like now that they're intertwined, you in bed with Kanye, he knows you need him. And people saying Adidas don't need. Listen, dude.
they need him.
When profits, when billions of dollars is at stake, they need that dude. We all know that, but he knows that, and that might be to a fault. You know how we was talking about like, yo, something can be so positive that it can turn into a
Yeah,
negative. Kanye, they need Kanye so bad that he's using it literally against them
yeah.
to get out of the deals and all of that. But I don't know, man. I mean, Adidas isn't relevant to me. Like I don't think about
I,
Adidas. I don't wear
the
Yeezys thinking
the
I'm wearing
only
Adidas.
the only Adidas product I have are these Yeezy shoes.
Facts.
So if it wasn't for Kanye West, I would own zero things that say Adidas.
Right.
And I mean, it doesn't mean they don't have a good quality product. It's just, hey, you aren't the it factor anymore. Like you're not the go-to. And you may have had your run back in the day, but even still, you could credit that to Run DMC for them taking over pop culture when they did have a run back in the 80s and the 90s in America. So it's
Right.
always been leaning upon, right, an entertainer, an athlete of some sort. And if if Run DMC had came out and had some off the wall views and perspectives, right? Would they have been like, oh no, we don't support those guys wearing our clothes, like we don't want those type of people, those hip hop people wearing. If they would have did that back in that, they would have went out of business back then, and we wouldn't even know what Adidas is today,
Right.
right? If there was always a we don't want any ties with people who have an opinion or say so. But I don't know that that's a sustainable way to run your business. Is every time someone that you're in cahoots with says or does something, you just cut ties and say, hey, we don't have anything to do with this. We don't want our hands on it.
I mean, because the whole lawsuit that they was getting sued for by the shareholders was y'all knew Kanye West was problematic. He said slavery was a choice and all of this other thing, and y'all stood behind him and said, yes, we stand behind Kanye West. Then he say what he say, right? And then now everybody's like, oh no, we got to cut bait. But the shareholders' whole lawsuit was y'all knew he was problematic. So y'all should have had a business model set up or something in the clause set up to where if he did do something like that, we would be able and have a plan to get out from under this.
Yeah.
But still, they are so desperate to have a Yeezy or a Beyonce because they Beyonce partnership didn't work. So Adidas is just overall is just really bad at partnerships and structuring deals because the behemoth of Nike, right? So it's like Adidas is like the the side chick that you gotta whenever he calls you gotta answer because no matter what if it's at the middle of the night 4 in the morning because he's at home with Nike.
Right.
So whenever he do call you, you got to pick it up. That's why they partnerships are so bad and they never really last.